Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of Not So Comic Book. This being a show where I talk about TV shows that are adaptations of comic books. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about Echo, Season 1, Episode 3. Great episode. A lot of really interesting things went down in this episode, so let's break it down. Well, first and foremost, we're getting introduced to another ancestor of Maya's, and that is, I hope I'm pronouncing it right, it's like Tuklo. She... In the 1800s, apparently there was a tribal police force that was created. They were the Light Horsemen, and her father was one, and she was being trained to be one as well. But her father said that a woman is a life giver, men are life takers. But for her, it's like, how can I give life if I'm not able to protect it? So, but she's like, I'm going to make them see me for who I am and not who I should be. And when her dad was like, him and his posse were like hunting down some bad guys, she showed up only because she felt something. Once again, connecting to that ancestry, she felt something and it told her where she needed to be, that there was danger, and she came in clutch, and she ended up saving her dad and the others there, helping take down some of those people. And obviously that comes through. Tuklo's side of things comes through in this episode when it comes to Maya, but we'll get to that when we get to it. Obviously, we had the conversation between Scully and Chola. What I thought was so interesting, well, we find out near the end of the episode that Scully and her aren't together anymore. I was kind of getting that vibe. I'm also curious, is he Maya's biological grandfather, or is it like that's her step grandfather? Like, did Chula get remarried type of situation? I love, but he was like, oh, like, want to go back to my office, and he's like doing those little hip thrusts, and she's like, well, I'm not gonna let you hump my dog, like I'm not gonna let you hump my legs like some old res dog. And he's like, oh, come on. I was like, look at Scully trying to get some. What the hell, dude? And even like sit beside her on the couch. She's like, go sit over there. He's like, what, that messes up my back. Oh, fine, because she's like, oh yeah, Maya's here. He's like, oh, so that's what this is about. And it's like, oh, it's like, you should go talk to her. It's like, no, I've got nothing to say to her, because they haven't talked at all in these past 20 years. And I love that even Scully points out, it's like, you two are a lot alike. You're both so stubborn, Because I think for her, it's just, like I brought up last episode, it's just a confluence of just like, it's a culmination of so much, because Maya represents her daughter, but she's also like her father. It's like, oh, she's too much like her dad. It's like, how? You don't even know her. So it's like, right. So even Chola doesn't know about all the stuff Maya's gotten up to in New York. Henry probably does, because he's kind of in that world, but she herself doesn't. She's just assuming, because it's like, that's probably why she sent, because it was easier to send her away with her father than even attempt to fight to keep her. Just because it's like I said, it would have just been too painful. It would have just been too much of a reminder of both fronts of her, of the daughter she lost, but also the man she blames for losing her daughter, and that was Maya's dad. And that's just, once again, she probably sees a little too much of her dad in her rather than like her mom. And I think it's just really sad that neither one of us willing to talk to the other one, because neither one's reached out. Hey, Maya's never reached out to me, so why should I talk to her? Well, Chola's never reached out to me, so why should I talk to her? It's like both of you are so brokenhearted, and it's like she had many attempts, but she didn't reach out, because I'm curious on some level, does she feel bad, and that's why she never reached out, because it's just, I made this unilateral decision, and I told your father to leave, and I knew what that would mean, and I told him to do it anyway. So maybe it's pride, but also shame that motivates her not to ever reach out to Maya. And Scully's telling her to do it, but she's like, no, I've got nothing to say to her. It's like, once again, like, you haven't talked to her in 20 years. You don't know enough about her. You haven't really heard enough to really know that. But I guess you're just, well, he made it clear in a previous episode. I want to say even last episode, like, and even that first episode taps into, like, she got a sense for these things. I mean, once again, that is also her ancestry as well. So she probably gets some of those vibes and those like intuitions and stuff, like the spirits and the gods like talk to her a little bit. Like, that's why she knew something was going to go wrong that night they left, like her, before her daughter and Maya got in that car accident. She had a feeling, and I'm sure like that's what she's getting now, kind of a little bit of a bad juju vibe from Maya. Maybe that's what it is, but like I said, I think it's just her like projecting a lot of her own, like I said, pride and shame onto the whole situation. I meant to bring this up earlier, but I'll go ahead and bring it up here. I'm sorry I'm jumping back a little bit, but I want to talk about it because I think it's just neat. I like it when they do interesting things with like the logos, like because of the old timey 1800s aesthetic. They were like, you know, black and white, and even kind of being like a silent film style. They portrayed Tuklo's story and how they shifted like the Marvel Studios logo and everything to, and even Marvel Spotlight to kind of reflect that aesthetic as well. I thought was kind of neat. But either way, let's circling back to the main plot. We had Vicky make his moves. He calls up Zane and tells him about Maya. So he not only holds Henry hostage, he also ends up like getting Maya. So just like she was so certain she had a leg up on this situation. Once again, no, you plan, God laughs type of situation, right? Because she thought she had this all under control, but she didn't see the blind side coming from someone like Vicky. To be fair, she didn't like Vicky to begin with. She's like, that dude that works for you is kind of a douchebag. And turns out to be exactly that. I mean, we already knew from episode 1 he was selling Maya out. But yeah, and he was so stupid too, because like Henry had to be like, yeah, if you're selling her out, how do you know for sure the people are going to pay you? It's like, wouldn't it be easier just to, hey, we got Maya, let's kill this person. We don't want any loose ends, and you become a loose end. So it's like, you know, like Henry tried to warn him about that, but he didn't want to listen. It's like, yeah, Vicky's flying by the seat of his pants like his two cronies, who one of them just got knocked down and hogtied in the back like they were planning to do to Maya, and the other one just ran for her life. So it's like, yeah, you were the only casualty in that particular situation, Vicky. How sucky is that? You and your two cronies like botched that hard, because like I said, they're not trained professionals. I even love that the other lady was watching a YouTube video about hostage negotiations and stuff like that. And I love the parallel of at the same time, like Maya's making her escape. We'll kind of get into that a little bit more. But I love it's like, oh, signing off, this is Esther, militia mommies. I was like, what is that? It's like, I don't know if that's interesting. That'll probably be something we never circle back to. Maybe that's supposed to be a little representative of like the state of the world, especially post-blip and what that means. I mean, to be fair, like militia's already existed out there. But like militia mommy, and I wonder, is she one of those people, like, is she kind of hardcore, and like maybe that isn't just a moniker she's going by, it is probably like a lifestyle that she's all about, like she is like a very militia person, or maybe that's just like, hey, like I know all this stuff, I have this knowledge, so kind of like a YouTuber, TikToker, she does say like, hey, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe. So it's like, yeah, I just love like the cutting in of like, while Maya's making her escape and doing her thing, the video about a hostage negotiation, and don't assume your kidnappers are inferior or something like that, or like not smart or idiots. They kind of are, so it worked out to Maya. So it's also like Maya making her escape because her kidnappers are idiots, but it's also like she's more so like in the kidnapper's point of view, even though she was the one that was You get what I'm saying? Like, it's just interesting switcheroo with just that. What's the word I'm thinking of? The juxtaposition between the video and like Maya's escape situation. But yeah, sadly, because she was wondering like, oh, if anyone's going to know about Maya, it's going to be Uncle Henry. So Bonnie stops by and he tries to sign to her like, yo, get out of here, go. And she was about to call dispatch, like, you know, letting them know what's what, but ends up getting grabbed and locked up too. So Maya ends up escaping because she has a knife in her boot. And it's like, yeah, I guess that's like, right, you've got a fake foot, so you're probably going to, once again, just the fact is she's kind of a bit of a MacGyver we see in this episode. I mean, to be fair, we already should have known considering the explosive she set up last episode. Because that was that was like chemicals coming together to cause an explosion. So like, just showing you how smart she is, because I mean, she probably did focus a lot in school, but she's got a lot of street smarts as well, and a lot of know-how. Like I said, it seems like she's quite the MacGyver, but she's also like very like, oh god, that feels very spyish to have like a knife boot. That's so interesting. So Bonnie's trying to talk to her, but it's like, this ain't really the time to be having this conversation. Besides, I'm not going to be in your life long enough. I'm in and out. I'm here for business and I'm bouncing. So why even kind of interrupt your life? But Bonnie's like, the fact of the matter is, I reached out to you. always, and you never sent a single message back, not a text, not an email. I reached out even when your dad died. I would have been there for you, but you never replied to my text. I was like, interesting, because that was what I kept being like, oh, maybe they had communicated up until that time. No, it was a one-way situation, because I think because Maya felt so hurt, because her heart was so broken, just like Chula like ended up cutting off communication. So did Maya. They were both too stubborn, and she was too young, she was too sad and too hurt. She lost her mom. She felt like she was being abandoned by her family in a lot of regards. So that's why she latched onto her dad, and maybe that was even more to her detriment. Like, not to have that equal balance, like her mom there in her life to balance her out, or like, Chula to balance her or Bonnie or Scully or Henry to kind of balance her out. Well, which is interesting to use Henry, considering the fact is he's kind of 2 foots in both worlds type of situation, kind of like she is. But like I was bringing up, like her being quite the MacGyver, like taking apart some skates and kind of making like a pseudo gun. Basically, she high speed shots stuff through it using like using a drill and like the wheels of the skate to like propel something. It's like, it was crazy. And then like her going full, I was about to say Batman, but obviously, let's give props in the Marvel universe to her fellow street level counterpart Daredevil, like being like very stealthy and taking people out one person at a time, blasting the music. It's like she's really good at what she does. And then just that sequence of back on it like skating rink where it's just like bam, and then like she I had skipped over quite a bit, but I'll circle back to it. But I love that whole sequence of like, once again, Tuklo like using those experiences that have kind of passed down to her. It's like, yeah, it's in your blood, it's in your DNA, and it's like everything. Because to be fair, like that is like a very indigenous people like belief of your ancestors are always with you. They carry on through you, through your blood, through your lineage. So it makes sense that in that moment, especially, it's intercutting stuff with Tuklo because she was a sharpshooter. So in that moment, and especially when she like kicked home dude's face and all his blood like splattered on the disco ball, picks up the gun, headshot. I was like, hey yo. And just like that whole sequence is so damn good. Like, holy crap, when you just see her get down and dirty like that. There's a lot of people she was just knocking out because she ran out of bullets. There's quite a few people that died, and there were some people that probably, got shot in other places. But there was a few headshots, but not all of them were headshots. But a lot of the people were just people she, like, beat the shit out of, so. And especially that, one dude, like, she wrapped her legs around him, and he was smashing her against one of the machines there, and she, like, got around him and, like, suplexed his ass backwards into the machine. I was like, fuck, yeah, dude, I got so hyped about that. And also, just like, once again, she's just taking everyone down, and it gets to the last dude, and it's Zane, and he's got Bonnie, and I was like, I love that the machine beside her, like, it's like, because it was going off the entire time, and then it stops, and, it's like, it plays, like, game over music. I was like, that's so good, that's so neat to kind of using that. But the thing that I skipped over is good old Vicky ends up getting got. It's like, yeah, you hear that, boys? He wants you to take him out. So go ahead and take him out. And he tries to run. And I love as he's dying, you see, like, Henry just shaking his head like, I told you, you fucking idiot. So it's like, yeah, it screwed you screwed the pooch on this big time. And you didn't know who you were messing with, homie. So, but yeah, Henry and Maya knelt down, ready to catch these bullets. When at the last minute, Zane gets a call and it's like, hey. I was like, did you know he was still alive? I guess not. He's just like, it's like, cool, you made moves without me. Either it's like hey, I thought you were dead, or no, I knew you were alive, but I thought this was what you wanted. Once again, it's a conversation about who knew what when. Like I said, I figured only those in the inner circle would know that Fisk is still alive. Probably wouldn't take the chance to letting like any low-ranking people know, but I don't know where in the totem pole Zane is. He's under that Fisk Enterprise, but I don't know where he stands on it. He seems like to be the muscle, but he was in charge of like the armory and stuff, so he must be, I don't know, a decent enough level. I don't know, must be one of his like lieutenants or something, but I don't know where he stands in the ranking. So would he have known, or is this his first time being like, sorry? He didn't sound like it didn't seem like a, oh, sir, you're alive. It seemed like a, oh, no, I did this because I thought, I guess maybe he hasn't talked to Fisk since Fisk got, once again, it ain't been that long since he woke up from his coma. But it's like, okay, sure, all right, pack it up, because he's definitely going to get raked over the coals for this, because it's like, yeah, you don't make moves, you know, and I think that speaks volumes that despite Maya literally attempted to kill you, and I guess it's like Fisk is crazy in that regard that like when he loves someone, he loves them, but it's like she knows the truth about you. She knows you tried you successfully set her dad up to be murdered. So the fact is because I think he sees so much in her, because he has no children of his own, he latched on to Maya from a very, very young age, and so she's always been family to him, and she became even more and more like a daughter the moment she started working with him. So I think for him it is a situation of, you are my daughter, and I'm not going to be too quick to kill you, despite your attempt to kill me. Like, all can be forgiven. Maybe, I don't know, or maybe it's just a personal thing of, I'm going to get you myself. Which, you know, jumping ahead, he's there at the end of the episode, and it's like, wow. Like, that's going to be an interesting and awkward conversation. To be fair, like, once again, the MCU's, I always go back to that She-Hulk line of riddled with daddy issues. Like, what's with all the daddy issues? It's like, that's a little more complex in Maya's case, but it still kind of stems in a daddy issues type of situation, but nevertheless. The result of this is that Maya kind of got the word that Fisk was alive, only because Henry was like, there's only one person who has enough pull and power to call this all off. And it's like, no, I shot him in the face. It's like, oh no. But she got her confirmation at the end of the episode. But Henry's like, all right, it wasn't just on you. This was also on me. Like, I could only toe that line with Fisk for too long. So he's like, right, I will help you. Like, I hope this isn't like him playing her, like the whole situation of, what was it Vicky said? Like, oh, like, you know, you didn't take the bounty. It's like, well, he's not stupid like Vicky. He still could, but I'm like, she is family, so I don't think he'd turn on her, because he knows, like, right, Fisk came too close to, like, trying to kill, like, I almost got too close to getting killed, because I'm mixed up in all of this, too, and Bonnie got mixed up in, so it isn't just you, this is me as well. I was kind of trying to play it safe, sit on the sidelines, and kind of, once again, keep my head down and keep my mouth shut. That's a no-go at this point, so need to kind of get involved. So he's going to be heavily more involved. I don't know if that's going to work out in his favor, or whether it's going to end up with him dead, or how that's all going to play out. But we had that scene with Scully and Maya where they had that conversation about, like, he gave her a piece for her prosthetic, and it's like, yeah, it's supposed to be like a symbol, it's supposed to represent like a Choctaw warrior, and because she likes something simple, but he's like, yeah, you're in New York, this way people know, like, where you go, you're representing your people, so kind of a reminder too of where you go, your people go with you. And she's like, yeah, you know, he's like, I could, like, put it in black if you want. She's like, no, I'll just wear my pants, like, over it. And she's just like, I'm teasing you. Which I love the sign for I'm teasing you is, like, rubbing your fingers like that. I think that's kind of, just kind of neat. But like I brought up earlier, it was also the conversation about Chola not reaching out. And just, like I said, them both just being so stubborn. It's like, she didn't want anything to do with me. It's like, yeah, but it broke your heart when you left. And it's like, that's so interesting. Because now that line I keep getting caught up on, it's like, well, she didn't leave. Her dad left. But maybe the argument is, maybe Chola didn't want her to stay, but maybe it was Maya's decision of, but I don't want to leave my dad. She was torn between a rock and a hard place. So maybe it was Maya's decision to leave. Maybe Chola wanted her to stay, but it was like, right, you want to go with your father, I have to respect that. But so maybe she did want her to stay. Maybe it was just you go away. Because that's what I couldn't understand. It's like, right, keep away from my family, you'll drag someone else into it, but yet you let Maya go with her. That's what I didn't understand. But now harping on that specific word phrasing that Scully said of when you left, because at no point did she give any pushback, like, I didn't leave, she kicked us out. It's like, no, she kicked out Maya's dad, not her. I think Maya's the one that made the decision. Probably if it was for him, like, her dad probably would have been like, no, you stay. But Maya probably was like, no. She already lost her mom. Her family being, like, kind of splintered like it is. She didn't want to be away from her dad. She loves her dad. So she was just torn. And probably, like, she was hoping, like, at least Bonnie would come with her. Because it's like, they're not just cousins. You're like a sister to me. And just everyone's just hurt. And, like, when you're hurt, even Scully says it. It's like, it is just those things in life that you wish you had done differently. There are just certain things in life. Maya wishes she handled things differently. I'm sure Chula as well. Just even the ending where that, I think at church or whatever, and she's just kind of staring off in the distance. She's not even singing like the hymns or whatever with everybody because she's just, And Maya was going to meet up with Bonnie, but decided not to because she just like, right, it's too hard. It's just, once again, Bonnie has consistently been the one, not Chula, not Maya. She's been the only one to extensively extend that olive branch, but neither Maya nor like Chula are really. We don't know if she's really done it a lot towards Chula to try and get her to reach out to Maya, but she's been the one to reach out the most to Maya. And just once again, the radio silence, and I think it's just so much easier. Like, right, why get caught up in all of this? It's like, why get so caught up in my feels? Like, what's it going to accomplish? All I'm going to do is drag you down. So it's like the easiest thing is we went 20 years of us not talking, not like. Once again, not like Bonnie didn't attempt to help out, but it's like Maya was just so hurt and heartbroken, just like Chula was, that she didn't want to reach back out. So I was curious if she was just going to straight up leave town and head back to New York, but it's like, no, she doesn't. She stays here, and as she gets back to the house, lo and behold, who does she find? Fisk waiting. So poetic that both worlds collide, because the house, as Scully says, is kind of a museum. Ever since she left, after Maya left with her dad, Chola had kept the house basically the same. And so for this place is kind of a stuck in time for when Maya was here last, and this is the place she's staying, with her pseudo father coming into play, the pseudo father that also killed her father. So it's all like, not serendipitous, but like I said, reciprocal. Like, it's just like, it's all like, it's really interesting when you like deep dive into the layers behind all of it. So some very, very interesting developments. I'm curious to see where all of this ends up taking us going forward into the next episode. But really, that's all I wanted to talk about. Till the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day, and goodbye.